The spaceport of New Dawn was alive with activity, a constant hum of engines, chatter, and blinking lights. Humanity had grown accustomed to the vastness of space, yet every new ship that appeared brought curiosity and excitement. Among the fleet of exploration vessels, one stood apart. It was not the largest, nor the most armed, but it radiated an energy that seemed almost alive. It was called the Pharos, and it was unlike any other ship humanity had ever seen. Captain Ilara Vance of the research vessel Horizon paced the observation deck, eyes fixed on the screens that displayed the Pharos. She had been briefed on every new prototype and every scheduled launch, but this one was unexpected. No official clearance, no familiar docking codes, nothing. And yet, there it was, gliding across the spaceport like it belonged to a different universe. "This isn't in the manifest," said Lieutenant Arik Hale, a young but highly skilled navigator, his fingers dancing over the console. "It just appeared. Sensors show it's powered and ready to leave." Ilara didn't answer immediately. Her gaze remained locked on the Pharos. There was something about it, something almost imperceptible, that made her uneasy. The ship didn't just hum. It resonated. It felt alive. She had seen new technology before, but this was different. "Set course," she finally said, her voice steady, though her stomach churned with a mixture of fear and excitement. "Let's see where it's going." The Horizon's engines roared as the vessel pulled away from the station, joining the thin ribbon of traffic leaving New Dawn. The Pharos, as if aware of the horizon, slipped effortlessly through the lanes, faster than any ship in its class. Ilara's stomach tightened. The ship wasn't just leaving, it was vanishing, as if it were slipping out of reality itself. "Captain," Hale said, his voice tinged with disbelief, "its speed. It's not possible. It's moving faster than the light calculations allow." Ilara nodded grimly. "I know, but we're following. Don't let it out of our sensors." The chase began quietly at first. The Horizon pushed its engines to maximum, but no matter how fast it went, the Pharos stayed ahead, a faint glow in the distance, almost teasing them. The longer they followed, the more the stars around them seemed to stretch and blur. Time itself felt wrong. The crew began to notice subtle changes. Watches lost sync. Communication logs recorded at odd intervals, and the familiar constellations in the distance appeared slightly shifted, like reflections in a warped mirror. Some whispered that it was a sensor glitch. Others feared something more sinister. "Captain, readings are fluctuating," reported Dr. Lena Korvik, the ship's chief scientist. She pointed at her console. "The Pharos is emitting energy pulses that we've never seen before. It's distorting space around it. We may be entering an unknown field." Ilara leaned closer, her brow furrowed. She could feel it too, a subtle pull at the edges of her perception. It wasn't just the instruments. The very air inside the Horizon seemed charged with anticipation. She pressed a hand to the railing. "How far ahead is it?" Hale calculated quickly. "Impossible to say. Its acceleration is off the charts. If it continues at this rate, we may lose it in seconds." The Horizon shuddered as the engines pushed harder, but the Pharos did not falter. It glided through the void with a grace that defied physics. The crew could see its faint silhouette against the distant stars, its surface shimmering with an iridescent glow that shifted colors like liquid metal. "Captain," said Korvik, voice tight, I think it's moving faster than time itself." Ilara's heart skipped. She had read about theoretical possibilities, about ships using advanced propulsion to manipulate time perception. But this was beyond theory. She felt a surge of responsibility. If the Horizon didn't follow, who would? And if they did, what dangers awaited them? The ship ahead entered a region of space where the stars seemed scattered, as if the universe itself had fractured. The Horizon's sensors struggled to maintain a lock. Time behaved strangely. Clocks ran backward and forward in irregular pulses. Crew members felt dizzy, disoriented, as if they were aging and unaging in moments. Hale gritted his teeth. "We're losing sync. Our instruments are failing. If we go any further, we might not come back the same." Ilara's gaze remained fixed on the shimmering outline of the Pharaohs. "We have to keep going." Humanity didn't reach the stars to turn back because of fear. The crew nodded, some reluctantly, some with steely determination. Each understood that following the Pharaohs was more than curiosity. It was a statement. Humanity's courage, its desire to explore the unknown, was being tested in ways no one had ever imagined. As they moved deeper into the strange region, time began to stretch and contract around them. Moments that should have lasted seconds dragged on, and others passed in the blink of an eye. Communication between the decks became difficult, voices lagging or skipping, making coordination a challenge. Yet the horizon pressed on, propelled by both engines and sheer willpower. Then came the first anomaly. A burst of light erupted in front of the horizon, not like an explosion, but like the universe itself had cracked open. The stars behind it swirled, twisting into impossible patterns. Crew members pressed themselves against the consoles, eyes wide, hearts racing. "It's beautiful," whispered Korvik, her voice trembling, "and terrifying." Ilara said nothing, only guided the ship carefully, avoiding the twisting distortions as best she could. The Pharaohs moved ahead as if it had already anticipated these obstacles, gliding through the chaos with a serene elegance. Minutes, or perhaps hours, Ilara could not tell, passed in tense silence. The horizon finally emerged from the distortion into a calmer, though still unfamiliar, region of space. Stars were dimmer here, stretched into long streaks, and a strange glow bathed the emptiness in colors that no human eye had names for. Hale exhaled sharply. "We made it. But where are we?" Korvik studied the readings. "I've never seen anything like this. It's as if we've crossed into a separate layer of reality, one that moves differently than the universe we know. And the Pharaohs, it's still ahead, waiting for us." Ilara felt a mixture of awe and trepidation. She knew that the journey had only begun. Whatever lay ahead would challenge everything humanity believed about space, about time, and about their own limitations. Yet, she also felt a spark of hope. They were following the Pharaohs, not because they had to, but because humanity's spirit demanded it. "Prepare to approach," she said, her voice calm but resolute. "We follow it, no matter what comes next. Keep sensors active. Keep minds sharp. This is what it means to explore." The crew moved with renewed determination, checking systems, stabilizing instruments, and securing themselves as best they could against the unpredictable currents of time around them. Every face showed a blend of fear and excitement. Each knew that history would remember the journey they were on, whether they succeeded or not. The Pharaohs ahead shimmered like a beacon in a sea of chaos, moving with a purpose that the horizon could only guess at. It was a silent invitation and a challenge, daring the humans to follow, to prove that courage and ingenuity could triumph even in the most impossible circumstances. As the horizon continued its pursuit, the distortions around them grew more pronounced. Stars bent, colors shifted, and time seemed to ripple like water. Crew members caught glimpses of impossible visions, events that might have been, might yet be, or perhaps never would exist. Some saw fleeting images of themselves, older or younger, living lives they could not recognize. Others glimpsed civilizations rising and falling in moments, all condensed into the strange elastic flow of this place. Through it all, Ilara kept her focus. Fear could not guide them. Only clarity of mind and unity of purpose would carry them forward. She felt a deep connection to every human who had ever looked up at the stars and dreamed of reaching beyond. Now, that dream was manifesting in the raw, uncharted reality around them. Minutes, hours, or maybe longer passed. Time had no meaning here, and yet the horizon pressed on, propelled not just by engines, but by the will of humanity itself. Finally, the Pharos appeared larger, its surface shimmering with patterns that suggested intelligence, almost consciousness. It seemed to regard them, to acknowledge their courage. Korvik whispered, "It knows we're here." Alara nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "Then we have to keep following. We've come this far. There's no turning back." As the horizon closed in, the first faint outline of a structure beyond normal space appeared, something massive and unseen, existing in a layer of reality where ordinary rules did not apply. The Pharos glided toward it with certainty, and the horizon followed, entering the unknown with hearts full of both fear and wonder. And for the first time, the crew understood that humanity's journey was no longer just about the stars. It was about time itself, and the courage to step into the impossible. The chase had begun, and there was no turning back. The horizon drifted through a strange corridor of stars, a region that seemed both familiar and alien. The Pharos led the way, moving effortlessly, as if it had already mapped the unseen currents of this strange space. Every member of the crew felt it, an almost tangible tension, a sense that reality itself was bending around them. Time moved differently here. Moments that should have lasted seconds stretched endlessly, and minutes disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lieutenant Arik Hale leaned over the navigation console, fingers tracing patterns on the glowing interface. "Captain," he said, voice tight, "our instruments aren't stable. The further we go, the harder it is to track the Pharos. It's like it's moving through layers of time we can't measure." Captain Alara Vance nodded, her eyes fixed on the glowing form ahead. "Keep trying, Arik. We can't lose it. Humanity didn't follow the first ships into space to stop now." Around them, the crew of the Horizon worked silently but with urgency. Dr. Lena Korvik, the ship's chief scientist, monitored fluctuating energy readings, her brow furrowed. "The Pharos isn't just moving fast. It's shifting between different time frames. I don't know how it's possible, but it's leaving traces in multiple temporal layers at once. Each layer is slightly different. Stars move, light bends, even our own systems react inconsistently." Ilara pressed her hand to the railing, feeling the strange pull of the corridor. The horizon shuddered occasionally, small tremors passing through its frame, as if the ship itself was adjusting to some unseen current. Crew members held on, eyes wide with both awe and fear. "Are we in danger?" one of the junior officers whispered, voice barely audible. "In danger?" Ilara repeated softly, looking at the swirling, distorted stars outside. "Yes. But that's the cost of exploring the unknown. Every first step into the cosmos carries risk, and so far, humanity has always survived." Minutes, or perhaps hours, Ilara could not tell, passed as the horizon followed. Every glance outside revealed new strangeness. Stars stretched into long ribbons of light. Small clusters flickered in and out of existence. For brief moments, crew members glimpsed entire civilizations rising and falling, planets forming, seas boiling and freezing, and cities built and abandoned, all compressed into fleeting visions. Hale shook his head, trying to focus. "It's overwhelming. I can't tell what's real anymore. How are we supposed to navigate through this?" Korvik's voice was calm but tense. "We don't navigate by reality here. We navigate by pattern. The Pharos leaves a trail, a sequence that exists in every time layer simultaneously. Follow it, and we follow it through." Ilara studied the glowing shape of the Pharos ahead. The ship's surface shimmered with patterns that seemed alive, almost conscious. She realized that this was not just a vessel, it was a pioneer, pushing humanity into realms no one had dared to explore. Suddenly, the Pharaohs veered sharply to the right. Hale shouted as alarms blared. It's changing course." Ilara gritted her teeth. "Hold steady. Don't overreact. The Pharaohs is moving through temporal currents. We need to follow, but carefully." The horizon twisted and turned, engines straining against invisible forces. Outside, stars twisted into impossible arcs. The crew caught glimpses of their own ship from moments before, ghostly reflections that moved independently. Some saw themselves standing in places they hadn't been yet. Others watched scenes from years they hadn't lived. Korvik studied the readings intently. "This is remarkable. We're witnessing layers of time as physical phenomena, and the Pharaohs, it's stable. It's using a form of temporal navigation we've never imagined. It's moving through time, not just space." Hale swallowed hard. "Through time? We're chasing a ship through time?" "Yes," Ilara said quietly. "And if we fail, we could lose not just this moment, but all of the moments we've ever lived." The crew moved with cautious precision. They adjusted engines and shields to compensate for sudden shifts in temporal flow. Every maneuver required intuition, calculation, and faith in the Pharaohs' lead. Yet, as they pressed on, a strange feeling grew among them. The corridor of stars seemed alive, guiding them, testing them, showing glimpses of possibilities they could never have imagined. Hours, or perhaps mere minutes, passed. The horizon approached a region where light bent impossibly, creating a haze of colors that shimmered like liquid. In the center floated an enormous structure, invisible to ordinary sensors, yet detectable through the subtle distortions it caused. It was massive, stretching far beyond the horizon, a ghostly monument suspended between realities. "That must be it," Korvik said, her voice barely a whisper. "The Pharaohs is heading toward some kind of temporal construct. It's ancient, and yet it feels designed. Someone or something placed it here." Ilara felt a chill. "Ancient or not, it's an opportunity. We're witnessing something no human has ever seen, and we are following it step by step." The horizon moved closer. The Pharaohs slowed slightly, almost as if waiting for them. Its glow seemed to pulse in anticipation, and Ilara realized that the ship was not merely a vehicle. It was a guide. It understood the currents of time and was teaching them to navigate them. Korvik's fingers flew over her console. "I'm seeing multiple paths through the construct. The Pharaohs is choosing a path that intersects several layers of time, keeping us on a stable course. It's brilliant." Hale exhaled sharply. "But if we misstep?" Ilara shook her head. "We won't. Follow the Pharaohs, trust the pattern, and keep your minds focused. Fear is natural, but it can't control us now." The horizon entered the edge of the construct, and the effect on time intensified. The stars stretched into great arcs. Moments overlapped. Crew members saw reflections of themselves standing at different stations, doing tasks they hadn't done yet or had already completed. Some glimpsed distant futures, cities rising on far-off worlds, families they had not yet known, victories and failures that might never happen. Despite the dizzying visions, the crew worked tirelessly, guided by the Pharaohs. They realized that understanding this place was not just a matter of science. It was a matter of perception, patience, and courage. Suddenly, the horizon passed through a region where time fractured violently. The ship trembled as moments split apart. Crew members felt dizzy, disoriented, and some stumbled. Alarms rang as sensors struggled to record the environment. "Stabilize the engines!" Ilara shouted. "Focus on the pattern of the Pharaohs. That's our only anchor." Hale gritted his teeth, recalibrating the engines with precise timing. Korvik monitored energy flows, directing shields to compensate for the instability. Slowly, the horizon regained balance. The Pharaohs glowed ahead, steady, serene, as if it were immune to the chaotic forces around it. Ilara felt a surge of admiration. This was more than a ship. It was a symbol of humanity's potential, a glimpse of what courage and ingenuity could achieve. Following it meant stepping into the unknown, confronting fears and proving that humans could navigate even the most impossible realities. Korvik leaned back from her console, eyes wide. We're learning something incredible here. The Pharaohs isn't just moving through time. It's teaching us to perceive it differently. We can't fully understand it yet, but we're beginning to see the patterns, the hidden currents. Hale shook his head. It's overwhelming. How do we even prepare for what comes next? Ilara's voice was steady. We prepare by staying united, by trusting in each other and in our knowledge. Humanity has faced the unknown before. We adapt, we learn, and we continue. That's what explorers do. For a moment, silence fell over the ship. The only sound was the faint hum of the engines and the subtle vibrations as the horizon adjusted to the temporal currents. Crew members took deep breaths, grounding themselves in the reality of the ship, even as the universe around them stretched, twisted, and shimmered. Then the Pharaohs shifted again, veering slightly to the left. The construct ahead seemed to open, revealing a narrow passage glowing with energy. It was like a gateway, suspended between layers of time. "Captain," Korvik said, awe in her voice, "the Pharaohs is leading us through it. This could be the heart of the temporal structure." Ilara nodded. "Then we go. Steady, careful, and together. Follow the Pharaohs, and we'll see what lies beyond." The horizon moved forward, entering the glowing passage. Time itself seemed to bend, wrapping around the ship like a fluid. Crew members felt the sensation of moving both forward and backward, as if their past and future existed alongside the present. Yet, through it all, the Pharaohs guided them, a constant beacon in the chaos. As they progressed, Ilara understood something profound. The Pharaohs was not just a ship, it was a teacher, a guide, a symbol of humanity's courage and potential. Following it required not just skill, but faith, in technology, in each other, and in the unyielding human spirit. And for the first time, the Horizon's crew realized that the journey ahead would change them forever. They were no longer just observers of the universe. They were participants in its deepest mysteries, explorers of both space and time, pioneers standing at the edge of the unknown. The chase had grown more perilous, the path more uncertain, and the lessons more profound. Yet, with the Pharaohs leading the way, the horizon pressed onward, driven by the hope, courage, and determination that had always defined humanity. And as they followed the new ship into the heart of the temporal currents, each crew member knew that they were witnessing the first step in a journey that would shape the destiny of humankind itself. The horizon followed the Pharaohs deeper into the strange currents of time, every pulse of energy and flicker of light testing the crew's nerves. Time here was no longer steady. It twisted and folded, stretching moments into eternities and collapsing hours into seconds. Crew members held on to consoles, railings, and each other to stay grounded as the ship floated through the impossible flow. Captain Ilara Vance stood at the observation deck, eyes scanning the shimmering passage ahead. The Pharaohs glowed like a living star, moving with a grace that seemed almost deliberate, guiding the horizon through the chaos. Ilara felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her chest. Every choice she made now would determine not only their survival, but also humanity's first step into a world no human had ever seen. "Captain," said Dr. Lena Korvik, voice tinged with both awe and concern, The Pharos is moving through multiple layers of time simultaneously. It's not just ahead of us in space, it's ahead of us in possible events, potential outcomes. Every move it makes is already a step in several futures at once. Lieutenant Arik Hale swallowed hard. How can we follow something like that? We can't measure its speed. We can't even tell how much time is passing here. Ilara clenched her jaw. We don't measure it. We feel it. We trust it. That's all we can do. The horizon twisted gently as the Pharos turned through a section where time seemed to ripple like water. Stars blurred, stretched into streaks of light, and sometimes disappeared entirely. The crew caught glimpses of objects from the past and future, faint and fleeting. In one corner of the observation deck, Hale saw a vision of himself years older, standing on a distant world with a family he had not yet known. The vision faded before he could focus, leaving him breathless. Korvik's voice broke the silence. "Look at this," she said, pointing to her console. Energy readings were spiking in strange patterns, forming sequences that resembled a language, or perhaps a code. The Pharos is interacting with this construct, and it's leaving traces for us to follow. But it's subtle. We have to understand the pattern to continue safely. Ilara nodded. Then we study it. Every pulse, every fluctuation. If the Pharos is guiding us, it's also teaching us. As the horizon pressed forward, the currents of time grew even more intense. The ship seemed to stretch, elongating slightly, as if reality itself were bending around it. Crew members felt their perception shift, sometimes seeing the same event repeated, sometimes witnessing moments that had not yet occurred. Some struggled to maintain focus, their minds straining to keep up with the fractured flow of reality. "We can't lose sight of it," Ilara said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "It's not just a ship. It's a path, a lesson. We follow it, and we learn." Minutes, or perhaps hours, passed in this state of disorientation. The Pharos led them to a section where time seemed to overlap with itself. Past and future merged, forming a kaleidoscope of possibilities. Crew members saw visions of humanity's greatest achievements and darkest failures, civilizations rising and falling in the blink of an eye. It was overwhelming, yet strangely inspiring. Korvik's voice was quiet, almost reverent. "It's showing us what we are capable of, what humanity has been and could be. The Pharos isn't just moving through time, it's revealing it to us." Hale shook his head. "I can't process it all. How do we make sense of this?" Ilara placed a hand on his shoulder. "We don't need to understand everything. We just need to follow, to trust in what the Pharos is guiding us toward. Courage isn't about knowing. It's about moving forward anyway." Suddenly, the horizon passed through a particularly turbulent current. The ship shuddered violently, alarms blaring as instruments went haywire. Crew members struggled to maintain control, holding on to consoles as readings spiked and flickered. Outside, the Pharos glowed brightly, unaffected by the chaos. It seemed to be waiting for them, leading them safely through the turbulence. Korvik's fingers flew over the controls. "If we falter here, we could be lost, either in space or in time. We have to stay synchronized with the Pharos, follow its movements exactly." Ilara's mind raced. She could see the patterns Korvik described, subtle shifts in light and energy that indicated the safest path. "All stations, focus on your readings. Every fluctuation matters. We move with the Pharos, not against it." The crew obeyed, working as one, each member attuned to the strange rhythm of the temporal currents. Slowly, the turbulence eased, and the horizon stabilized. Outside, the Pharos continued forward, a calm beacon in a chaotic universe. Korvik exhaled. "We made it through. But what's ahead? I'm not sure we're ready for it." Ilara's gaze remained on the glowing ship. "We're ready. That's why we're here. Every step is a lesson, every challenge a test. The Pharos is showing us the way. As they continued, the temporal currents shifted again, revealing glimpses of a vast structure ahead. Unlike anything in normal space, it appeared both enormous and intricate, stretching in impossible directions. The horizon's sensors struggled to map it, showing only fragments and distortions. Hale swallowed hard. "It's huge. I can't even tell how big it is. And the Pharos, it's heading right into it." "Yes," Ilara said quietly. "And we follow. Humanity has never turned away from the unknown, and we won't start now." The horizon approached the structure cautiously. Energy readings spiked, revealing intricate patterns that seemed alive, almost conscious. Light bent around the forms, creating illusions and shadows that shifted constantly. Crew members glimpsed echoes of civilizations long gone, cities abandoned, and stars that had burned out centuries before. Korvik's voice trembled slightly. This is more than a structure. It's a record, a repository of time itself. And the Pharos is leading us through it, teaching us how to navigate its currents. Ilara's jaw tightened. "Then we follow, carefully and deliberately. Every step, every observation matters. We're learning not just to survive here, but to understand." The horizon moved forward, following the glowing path laid by the Pharos. Time shifted around them, stretching and folding in unpredictable ways. Crew members saw their own reflections in past and future events, sometimes interacting with moments they had not yet lived. It was disorienting, but also enlightening, a reminder of humanity's place in the vast, unfolding tapestry of existence. Suddenly, the Pharos paused. Its glow intensified, bathing the horizon in brilliant light. Crew members shielded their eyes as the ship's energy seemed to reach out, touching every corner of the horizon. Korvik gasped. "It's communicating, not with words, but with patterns, shapes, pulses, sequences. It's teaching us directly." Hale frowned. "Teaching what?" Ilara watched closely. "How to navigate time, how to move through it safely, and maybe how to understand our own potential." The horizon followed, moving carefully through the lessons of the Pharos. Each shift in light, each pulse of energy, revealed a new aspect of the temporal currents. Crew members felt their understanding growing, their fear replaced by cautious confidence. They were learning to perceive time differently, to see patterns where before there had been only chaos. Hours passed, or perhaps minutes. Time had no meaning here. The horizon continued through the structure, guided by the Pharos, absorbing lessons that no textbook or theory could teach. Crew members worked tirelessly, recording observations, adjusting instruments, and following the ship's subtle cues. Finally, the horizon emerged into a calmer region where the temporal currents slowed and stabilized. The structure ahead stretched into the distance, glowing softly, a monument to the possibilities of the universe. The Pharos hovered near its center, waiting. Korvik exhaled, relief mingled with awe. "We made it, and we've learned so much already." Ilara nodded, her eyes fixed on the glowing ship. "This is only the beginning. Humanity has taken the first steps into something far greater than space. We are explorers of time itself now. And the Pharos has shown us the way." Hale looked at her, eyes wide. Do we continue? Further?" Ilara smiled faintly. "We continue, because humanity does not stop. We follow, we learn, and we grow. That's who we are. That's what we've always been, and that's what we will always be, no matter how fast time moves." As the horizon rested for a brief moment in the calm currents, the crew felt a sense of unity and purpose stronger than ever. They were not just passengers, they were pioneers, the first humans to follow a path through the currents of time, learning lessons no one else could. They understood now more than ever that courage, curiosity, and determination were the greatest engines of progress. The Pharos remained ahead, a luminous guide, beckoning them forward. And the Horizon's crew knew that the journey would only grow more challenging, more mysterious, and more rewarding. They were prepared, ready to face whatever lay beyond the next fold in time, confident in their skills, their unity, and the boundless potential of humanity. And with that understanding, the Horizon pressed onward, following the Pharaohs into the heart of the temporal labyrinth, where every choice, every observation, and every moment would shape not only their future, but the future of humankind itself. The Horizon moved cautiously, its hull humming with the energy of the temporal currents. The Pharaohs glowed ahead, steady and brilliant, guiding them deeper into the unknown. Captain Elara Vance felt a mixture of anticipation and awe. Every pulse of light, every shift in the currents, carried meaning. She knew that the journey they were on would change humanity forever. Dr. Lena Korvik leaned over her console, scanning the readings with careful attention. "We're approaching the center of the structure," she said. "Energy levels are unlike anything we've recorded. It's almost alive. The currents are denser here, but more ordered. The Pharaohs seems to know exactly where to go." Lieutenant Arik Hale's voice trembled with excitement. "It's incredible. We're seeing layers of time overlap, but the Pharaohs is stable. It's like it's synchronized with the structure itself." Elara nodded. "Then we follow it, step by step, careful but unafraid." As the Horizon pressed forward, the crew noticed something extraordinary. The currents around them began to form patterns, almost like pathways. Glowing lines traced arcs through the shifting temporal energy, and the Pharaohs moved along them with precision. It was as if the ship were navigating an invisible map, teaching the Horizon's crew to perceive time in a new way. Korvik's eyes widened. "These patterns, they're instructions. The Pharaohs isn't just leading us, it's showing us how to move safely through the currents. It's a guide, a teacher." Elara's gaze remained fixed on the ship ahead. "Then we learn. That's why we're here. Humanity has always grown by learning, by exploring the unknown." The Horizon followed the Pharaohs along the glowing pathways, each curve revealing more of the structure's secrets. Vast formations of light stretched into the distance, some forming what appeared to be cities, others vast machines of incomprehensible design. They were suspended in the temporal currents, existing simultaneously in multiple layers of time. The crew realized they were witnessing the very architecture of the universe itself. Hale swallowed hard. "It's beyond anything I imagined. This isn't just a structure, it's a record of possibilities. Every path humanity could take, every choice, every action, recorded here, waiting to be understood." Korvik nodded. "And the Pharaohs is showing us the way to read it. We're learning to perceive outcomes, to navigate possibilities without losing ourselves." Elara's heart pounded. "Then we must continue. Humanity doesn't retreat from the unknown. We advance, guided by knowledge, courage, and curiosity." The Pharaohs moved into a central chamber of the structure, a vast space where the currents converged. The glowing lines formed intricate patterns, spiraling around each other in endless loops. The Horizon followed, entering a zone where the boundaries between past, present, and future blurred completely. Crew members saw fleeting visions of themselves, older and younger, living moments they had yet to experience or had long forgotten. Korvik whispered, "It's showing us everything. Our past, our future, our potential, and it's doing it safely. We can witness these layers without being lost to them." Hale's voice was awed. "It's like we're standing at the center of time itself, and the Pharaohs, It's our guide, our teacher, our companion. Ilara felt a deep sense of pride. Humanity had always faced the unknown, and now, in this extraordinary place, they were proving themselves again. They were explorers not just of space, but of time, of possibility, of existence itself. The Pharaoh slowed, hovering at the center of the chamber. Its surface shimmered, displaying patterns that seemed almost alive. The Horizon's crew gathered at the observation deck, watching in silence. Then, the Pharaohs emitted a pulse of energy that washed over the horizon, and the crew felt a sudden clarity. Korvik gasped. It's communicating, not with words, but with understanding. It's showing us the principles of temporal navigation, the ways to move through time safely, and the responsibilities that come with such knowledge. Ilara took a deep breath. This is why we followed it, to learn, to grow, to prove that humanity is capable of facing the unimaginable and emerging stronger. Hale's eyes glimmered with wonder. We're seeing what we can become. If we take this knowledge back, humanity could reach farther than ever before. We could explore not just the stars, but possibilities themselves. Korvik nodded, still awestruck. We have to be careful. Knowledge of this magnitude carries responsibility. Misuse could be disastrous, but handled wisely, it could define our species for generations. Ilara turned to her crew. We are pioneers. We will take this knowledge, learn it, and use it to guide humanity safely into the future. Courage, wisdom, and unity will be our compass. The Horizon spent what felt like hours, though in this space, time had little meaning, following the Pharaohs through the central currents of the structure. The ship moved gracefully, revealing patterns, pathways, and lessons in ways that no textbook, simulation, or lecture could replicate. The crew absorbed every moment, every pulse, every shimmer of light, understanding more with each passing sequence. Finally, the Pharaohs began to move again, slowly retreating from the central chamber. Its glow intensified, as if signaling that the time of instruction was complete. The Horizon followed, carrying with it the understanding they had gained and the sense of responsibility that came with such profound knowledge. Korvik exhaled, her eyes bright with excitement. We understand so much now, but there's more, always more. The Pharaohs has shown us the path, but we must continue to walk it ourselves. Hale nodded. We've learned how to follow, but we also have to learn how to lead. Humanity is ready to step into this new frontier. Ilara looked at her crew, pride and determination shining in her eyes. Then we return. We bring this knowledge back to humanity. We will share it responsibly, carefully, and boldly. The stars, and now time itself, are ours to explore, but with courage, wisdom, and integrity. The Horizon followed the Pharaohs out of the central chamber, back along the glowing pathways. Time stabilized gradually, and the distortions that had tested their perception began to fade. The stars outside returned to familiar positions, the universe seeming to sigh in relief as the currents calmed. Hale let out a long breath. I can feel it, the difference. We've changed. Everything feels connected now. Not just space, not just time, but everything. Korvik smiled, a rare expression of pure wonder. We've learned that humanity's courage and curiosity are powerful forces. We can face the unknown, adapt, and grow. And the Pharaohs. It's been our guide every step of the way. Ilara's gaze remained on the glowing ship ahead. Then we honor it, by living up to what we've learned. Humanity is small, but our spirit is vast. We will explore, we will discover, and we will thrive. The Horizon followed the Pharaohs through the last stretch of the temporal corridor. The ship moved with effortless grace, guiding them back to the edge of normal space, where familiar stars twinkled once again. The temporal currents faded completely, leaving the Horizon in a calm, quiet void. The crew took a moment to absorb the significance of what had happened. They had not just followed a ship. They had walked through the currents of time itself, learned lessons beyond ordinary comprehension, and proven that humanity's spirit was capable of meeting the impossible. Korvik's voice was soft, full of awe. We've witnessed the architecture of time. We've seen possibilities, potentials, and paths that were never visible before, and we've survived it. We've learned to navigate it. Hale shook his head, a smile spreading across his face. It's overwhelming, but I feel proud. Proud of humanity, proud of us, proud that we dared to follow the Pharaohs. Ilara turned from the observation deck, her expression serene but resolute. This is only the beginning. Humanity has always reached for the stars. Now we can reach beyond time itself. We must do so responsibly, with courage, wisdom, and unity. That is our duty, our challenge, and our honor. The Pharaohs hovered briefly, then began to move slowly toward the distance. Its glow softened, as if acknowledging the horizon's crew, as if giving them a silent promise. The path was open, the lessons learned, and humanity had taken its first step into a broader future. Ilara whispered, "Thank you for guiding us, for teaching us, for showing us what we are capable of." The horizon followed the last shimmer of the Pharaohs until it disappeared beyond the edge of perception. Though the ship was gone, its presence remained in the minds and hearts of the crew. They had seen what humanity could achieve, what courage and determination could accomplish. They had glimpsed the potential of their species, and they had survived to bring that knowledge back. The ship turned, heading home. Stars stretched out before them, familiar and comforting, yet the crew knew that nothing would ever be the same. They carried the lessons of the Pharaohs, the knowledge of time's currents, and the proof that humanity's spirit could conquer the unimaginable. As the horizon sailed through the calm expanse of space, Ilara looked at her crew and felt a profound sense of pride. We are explorers. We follow, we learn, we grow. And now we return to share what we have discovered. Humanity will thrive because we dared to step into the unknown. Hale smiled, leaning against the console. And when others follow, they will do so with courage, guided by the knowledge we've gained. We've taken the first step, but the journey continues. Korvik nodded, her eyes shining. We've learned that time, like space, is a frontier, and humanity, with its spirit, ingenuity, and courage, is ready for it. Ilara exhaled, a sense of calm and determination settling over her. Then we go home. We carry hope, knowledge, and courage back to humanity. We've followed the Pharaohs, and we've proven that no challenge is too great for those who dare to face it. The horizon sailed onward, leaving the temporal currents behind, but carrying their lessons forward. The stars stretched endlessly, beckoning them onward, and the crew knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had glimpsed the impossible, faced it, and emerged stronger. And as they continued into the unknown, they did so with courage, wisdom, and the unshakable belief that the future belonged to those who dared to explore. The Pharaohs was gone from sight, but its lessons remained. Humanity had followed, learned, and grown, and the universe, vast and full of mysteries, awaited their next step.